how do I block out the noise? I would say it always been, like I always face adversity, since growing up. In each level, it always been something. So you just know how, when you figure out how people come at you and life is a cycle, it keeps repeating over and over and over, then you understand, what game this is or what they're doing, so I can never feel less than. Nobody could ever make me mentally get out of position in the situation I am. I'm thankful for who I am. I'm thankful for who my dad is. I'm thankful for my family, and no one can make me feel bad about the blessing that I do have.
After being sidelined briefly, Shedeur returned to practice and instantly made his presence felt. From the moment he stepped back onto the field, everything changed. The energy, the precision, the control. This wasn't a player easing his way in. This was a quarterback seizing control of a narrative that others tried to write without him. While Dillon Gabriel was still being discussed as a possible frontrunner, Shedeur delivered a powerful response. Not through words, but through performance. And it was undeniable. Gabriel, who many thought had gained the upper hand during Shedeur's absence, was left in the shadows once the session got underway. What started as a competition quickly turned into a showcase, and Shedeur was the one putting on the show. The throws were sharp, the command was clear, and the offense immediately looked more confident. Coaches didn't need to say anything. Their body language said it all. They were watching a quarterback who wasn't just trying to make the roster. He was trying to take over the depth chart. Meanwhile, Gabriel had one of the roughest sessions of his camp run so far. A 50% completion rate during the most critical reps of the day. That's not just a bad day, it's a missed opportunity. Especially with Sanders standing right there, delivering strike after strike, showing poise under pressure and elite-level decision-making. And the pressure was on. Gabriel had the benefit of a clear runway when Shedeur was out. But when it was his time to lead, he stumbled. The window closed fast, and Shedeur's performance slammed it shut. Let's be clear, Shedeur didn't just outperform Dillon. He dismantled the entire argument that Gabriel was QB1 material. The numbers tell a brutal story. Shedeur logged 9 reps, completing 7. That's nearly 80% efficiency. But more than just stats, it was the type of completions that told the truth. Tight windows, collapsing pockets, chaos all around. And still, the ball found the right hands at the right time. There was one throw in particular that summed up the entire session. Pocket breaking down, pressure flying in from both sides, and Shedeur calmly stepped back, spotted Luke Floria slicing through coverage, and hit him with a laser right between defenders. That ball didn't just move the chains, it silenced the doubt. Teammates reacted instantly. Heads turned, coaches pulled out notebooks, and the fans watching from the sidelines felt it too. That wasn't just another throw in practice. That was the kind of throw that earned starting roles. What made it even more impressive was how consistent Shedeur looked. From the first snap to the last, he carried himself like someone who wasn't hoping for a shot. He was taking it. His footwork was tight, his eyes never wavered, and every decision came quickly without hesitation. It was field general behavior. And when the coaches watched the tape, they'd see the same thing, a quarterback ready to lead. Gabriel, on the other hand, didn't offer any highlight-worthy moments. If anything, he reinforced doubts. Earlier in camp, there were signs of inconsistency. Day 8 was especially brutal. Only 3 completions out of 14 reps, 11 passes off target. That's not just a one-time fluke, that's a trend, a worrying one. You can't fake leadership, you can't fake rhythm, and when the defense reads you like a script and you still can't adjust, that's a problem. The more reps Gabriel takes, the clearer the separation becomes. And when you put those reps next to Shedeur's, it's night and day. And now, Gabriel is dealing with a hamstring issue. He's currently sidelined, and while the reports suggest it's nothing serious, it couldn't have come at a worse time. In a competition this tight, even one missed session can shift everything, especially when the guy you're competing with is stacking great practice after great practice. Kevin Stefanski tried to downplay the concern, labeling it soreness and nothing alarming, but reality says otherwise. The momentum has changed, and it's not in Gabriel's favor. Meanwhile, Shedeur clarified everything about his own health. After rumors swirled about his arm, he addressed it directly. No injury, just a bit of normal soreness from fluctuating temperatures during intense practice days. His body was adjusting, and he's already back to full strength. No hesitation, no setback, just progress. And that progress has put the Browns in a very uncomfortable position. From day one, the reps were limited. Shedeur wasn't getting the same leash others were given. There was speculation that the front office, especially ownership, wasn't fully behind him. Drafted in the 5th round, passed over repeatedly, and treated more like a long shot than a real contender. But today flipped the script. Everything about his performance screamed starting quarterback. He looked healthy, motivated, and most importantly, dialed in. While others were falling behind, Shedeur was building momentum. And not quietly either. These weren't lucky breaks or manufactured hype. It was real playmaking. That's what makes this such a pivotal moment. The Browns aren't just facing a routine camp decision, they're staring down a possible change in direction for the entire franchise. And it's coming from the one player they didn't seem ready to bet on. And now, the veterans like Joe Flacco are the only ones left between Shedeur and the top spot. Kenny Pickett is dealing with injury, Gabriel is out. The room is shrinking and Shedeur's window is wide open. The only question is, do the Browns have the courage to let him walk through it? The owner didn't draft him, but now the pressure's on him too. When a 5th-round pick outplays every other name on the list, it forces a franchise to take a hard look in the mirror. This wasn't supposed to happen. The plan was probably to sit Shedeur behind veterans, let him develop quietly, and maybe give him a chance years down the road. But football doesn't work like that. You don't control momentum, you respond to it. And right now, that momentum belongs entirely to Shedeur Sanders. The situation is becoming impossible to ignore. When a quarterback steps in, outperforms the competition, and makes the entire offense look better, coaches are forced to adjust their plans. It's not just about talent anymore. It's about trust, timing, and proof. And Shedeur is delivering all three, every single snap. What's especially revealing is the shift in body language from those around him. The receivers are more locked in. The huddle looks sharper. The entire unit is moving faster, more confidently. It's not just quarterback play. It's leadership, the kind that can't be faked in interviews or scripted by public relations. The Browns' coaching staff was slow to recognize it. The front office barely acknowledged it. But now, with Gabriel's struggles becoming undeniable and the injury sidelining him, the pressure is mounting, and not just on the players, on ownership, on Stefanski, and everyone else who tried to downplay Shedeur's role in this competition. They were quick to promote others. Gabriel got the early buzz, Flacco was the safe choice. Pickett had the veteran credibility, and Shedeur, he was the rookie from a flashy college program, drafted later than expected, handed minimal reps, and treated more like a project than a weapon. But now he's rewriting that narrative, and the regret is setting in. The Browns could have given him more run earlier. They could have structured camp to make the competition more balanced. But they didn't. They gave the spotlight to others. And now, they're watching as Shedeur takes that spotlight back. Without asking for it, without waiting for permission. Just results. And what makes this moment even more significant is the timing. Preseason games are approaching fast. This is when depth charts get locked in. Roles start to become official. The coaching staff can't afford to guess anymore. They can't lean on reputation. They need production, and that's exactly what Shedeur is giving them. He's not just doing well, he's making it impossible to bench him. Every throw he makes is building a case. Every clean rep is widening the gap between him and the competition. And every mistake from the others makes Shedeur's consistency stand out more. This isn't hype, this isn't media spin. It's performance under pressure. It's a young quarterback showing he belongs. Not next year, not mid-season, but right now. Even if the plan was never to let him compete seriously, even if the reps were originally slanted elsewhere, Shedeur has changed the landscape. The Browns' front office didn't expect it, but they're being forced to adapt. And in hindsight, you can already feel the regret. The regret of not giving him a fair shot from the jump. The regret of trying to manufacture a depth chart instead of letting the field decide. And nowhere is that regret more visible than with Dillon Gabriel. He had the chance. He had the spotlight. And when it came time to perform, he couldn't carry the weight. Poor decisions, missed reads, wide throws, and now an untimely injury that gives Shedeur even more room to breathe and dominate. What was once a tight race is now turning into a one-sided performance. The fact that Shedeur is doing this after being sidelined only makes the argument stronger. He didn't warm up into this, he didn't ease back in, he returned with purpose, controlled the tempo, and made everyone watching question why he wasn't QB1 to begin with. So where does this leave the Browns? At a crossroads. The old plan doesn't work anymore. You can't treat Shedeur as a backup option after what he's shown. The other quarterbacks haven't delivered. The veteran safety nets aren't inspiring confidence. The younger competition hasn't lived up to the hype. And Shedeur? He's done everything right. And more. This is no longer about potential. This is about performance. This is about a player doing everything a coaching staff asks of him and still having to fight for a seat at the table. But the table is shifting, the conversations are changing, and Shedeur's name is no longer being whispered quietly. It's being discussed loudly, in meetings, on the field, and across the media. And rightfully so. The Browns owner might not have seen this coming. Maybe he thought Shedeur would be a long-term project, a developmental piece, a pick for depth. But that's not what's happening. That's not what the field is showing. And if they don't pivot soon, that regret is only going to grow deeper. Because if Shedeur keeps this up and they still refuse to hand him the keys, the backlash won't just come from fans. It'll come from within. From teammates who see the truth, from assistant coaches who are tired of the politics, from a locker room that knows who the best player is. There's only so long you can keep a rising star on the bench before it starts to feel like sabotage. At this point, every additional rep from Shedeur feels like confirmation. He's healthy, he's sharp, he's leading, and he's not going anywhere. The Browns now face a critical decision. Stick with the safe plan and ignore what's happening right in front of them? Or do the bold thing, the smart thing, and let the best player take control? Because this camp isn't just about evaluation anymore. It's about momentum, and Shedeur Sanders has all of it. The next few practices will be telling, but if things continue on this path, the Browns will have no choice but to move forward with a new face leading their offense. Not because they planned for it, but because Shedeur Sanders earned it. And for everyone who doubted him, who limited his reps, who looked past him, that moment of regret has already arrived. And it's only getting louder.